Why is there so much boomer hate on Reddit? Power, but it doesn't make sense to me, maybe because I'm a Mexican American and most boomers of my people are poor. Not only that, but Redditors often forget that America is not the only country in the world. Like for example in China, boomers are known as the lost generation because of the suffering under Mao. Irrelevant. Boomers is an American term. The boomers are called such because they were born during the post-WW2 American baby boom. A lot of conflict comes from boomers being out of touch with the economic situation that millennials were facing as young adults. Everyone is out of touch with almost everything with which they do not have personal experience. Well, in North America at least, by large, boomers were afforded a very nice lifestyle. One income could essentially pay for a house, 2 cars and raising kids. Enough of a voting bloc of boomers voted in patterns that have the same privileged lifestyle be denied to their kids and grandkids. It was obvious to boomers' parents as well, since they were called the Me generation before being rebranded as boomers. My opinion on this is working under the assumption that the majority of Reddit users are Americans under the age of 40. I think it's because the majority of powerful and wealthy people in the United States are boomers, and it's become increasingly obvious that at least in the US, our leaders are increasingly out of touch with the desires of the younger people, and there's no change in sight. Because after our 80-year-old leaders either die or retire, they will just be replaced by 70-year-olds that follow the same ideology. It's going to take multiple decades for the US political class to reset before any real change occurs. Also, on a more personal level, at least in my experience, in the current economic climate, a lot of younger people are struggling pretty hard. The attitude from older established people is figure it out, or should have used common sense, or life isn't fair. It completely downplays the reality a lot of younger people face, which is a lot of the problems they face are completely out of their control. I find that most boomers don't really recognize that these two things have created a lot of resentment between the two generations. It's ironic, because it's the same exact thing the boomer generation went through in the 60s. I'm glad I'm an English boomer. USA has experienced some political polarization lately, which in turn resulted in stereotypes where some generations were assigned to particular ideologies. Thus, hate against boomers and millennials from different sides. Your question answers itself. Boomers is an American term to refer to an American phenomenon. Reddit has a large percentage of terminally online people who are just angry all the time. I don't get it either. It's pointless tribalism, and painting an entire generation with one brush, which is unfair and discriminatory in my opinion. If anything, I see those that blanket blame boomers for everything, unable to accept personal responsibility for their own problems and challenges in life. Boomers as a generation just got by and thrived, or not as best they could with what they had, just as we have. While people are quick to point out boomers ruined the environment and set up megacapitalism to screw over the poor, it's leaving out the literal millions of boomers who weren't like that at all. In fact, they founded movements such as environmentalism, racial and sexual equality, labor rights, anti-war demonstrations. I could go on. They are also the generation that invented computers and all of our modern technology we take for granted. Painting any age group with one brush is foolish and ignorant. There are many good people who are boomers, my mother being one of them. I think it's real simple. The word boomer rolls off the tongue real nice as an insult. Literally anyone older than the person saying the insult is a boomer to them. It's used as old person, and that's it. American boomers ruined the planet and in no way will ever be made to be uncomfortable or without treats for any period of time. Because most boomers who were born in the US went to college, where the entire cost could be paid for by working a summer job, purchased houses for about 30% of their income, had kids and built a retirement. The new generations had college that left them with higher debt payments than a mortgage, and houses cost 90 to 130% of their income, all the while they are paying a huge percentage of their income into Social Security that goes to boomers, but will be rug pulled before they reach that age. They have been fucked by the boomers and who the boomers elected. While the current generations work full-time or multiple jobs, they are constantly told by the previous generation they are lazy and the cause of all the problems. Simple. It is now difficult to achieve what was easy for them. The frustration is amplified when they are seemingly in denial or oblivious to this. Young people have two options: work harder, for a longer amount of time, while making riskier investments, or accept an objectively lower quality of life. As a lot of comments indicate, a lot of younger people are idiots full of hate because they imagine life is a TV show they think the older generation wrote, like somehow they would magically have done better. Most of Reddit doesn't even know what boomer means. It's like going on Facebook and asking why millennials and zoomers are hated. You aren't going to get an answer here. All the examples you cite of people who don't fit the boomer stereotype are people in countries other than the US. But boomer behavior and criticism of it are a distinctly US phenomenon, and notably refers to white US boomers. The issues that other people have with them are valid, but that doesn't mean every single human being born during that time period fits the description. Somebody from China, or your poor Mexican-American boomer relatives aren't the targets of this criticism. No one hardly ever mentions the silent generation. Many of them are still alive, and their children Generation X seem to have dodged the scorn. Why is there so much boomer hate on Reddit? A lot of Redditors are stereotyping bigots. Everyone wants to blame someone else for their problems, and boomers are an easy target. They are elderly,